I need you to stop what you're doing and listen to me for a moment. Because if you've ever laid in bed at 3 in the night with your heart racing, replaying the same conversation over and over, imagining every possible way your life could fall apart, feeling paralyzed by thoughts you can't control, then what I'm about to tell you will change everything. You think overthinking is just who you are. You think it's your personality, your curse, the way your brain is wired. But you're wrong. And that lie is keeping you trapped in a mental prison you built yourself. Let me be direct with you. Overthinking is not happening to you. You are doing it. And I don't say that to blame you. I say it because if you're doing it, that means you can stop. But first, you need to understand what it actually is. Because the moment you see overthinking for what it really is, the moment you understand the mechanics behind it, it loses half its power over you. You're lying in bed. It's late. Your body is tired, but your mind won't stop. You're replaying a conversation from 3 days ago, analyzing what you said, wondering if you sounded stupid. Then your brain jumps to tomorrow, that thing you have to do. What if it goes wrong? What if you're not ready? And then it spirals further. Your future, your career, your life direction. Are you wasting time? Are you falling behind? Everyone else seems to have it figured out. But you? You're stuck here in your own head running simulations of failure over and over again. This isn't laziness. You're not avoiding work because you don't care. You're avoiding it because you care too much. Because the moment you sit down to focus, doubt creeps in. What if this isn't the right path? What if you fail? What if you give everything and it's still not enough? So instead of starting, you think and think and think until thinking becomes its own prison. Let me tell you something you need to understand. Overthinking is not a sign of intelligence. It's not depth. It's not you being careful or thoughtful. Overthinking is what happens when two things collide in your mind: uncertainty and lack of focus. That's it. Not some mysterious mental disorder, not a personality flaw you were born with. It's uncertainty that you haven't learned to manage, combined with focus that you haven't learned to control. Let me explain uncertainty first, because most people misunderstand it completely. Think about something simple. You're listening to music. One earbud stops working. You take it out, check it, put it back in. It works. Your mind relaxes. Why? Because now you're certain. The earbud is fine. There's no problem. Your brain stops scanning for danger. But imagine if it kept cutting in and out randomly. Now you're uncertain. Is it broken? Is it the wire? Is it the phone? Your mind won't let it go. Even though it's just an earbud, even though it doesn't really matter, your brain will keep returning to it, checking, wondering, trying to solve it. This is how your brain is wired. It hates uncertainty. Because for most of human history, uncertainty meant danger. Not knowing if there was a predator nearby, not knowing if food would be available tomorrow, not knowing if you were safe. Your ancestors who ignored uncertainty often didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. So your brain inherited this ancient alarm system. And now, in a world where most threats are gone, that same system fires when you don't know if you'll pass your exam, or get that job, or become successful, or be enough. But here's the paradox most people never consider. If life had complete certainty, you would be miserable. Imagine if I could tell you exactly how your future would unfold. You'll get this job, you'll meet this person, you'll live here, you'll die at this age. You'd feel empty, because certainty in its totality removes meaning. It removes the possibility of becoming something greater than what's already written. So uncertainty isn't your enemy. It's actually the space where your potential lives. The problem is not uncertainty itself. The problem is uncertainty combined with inaction, or uncertainty combined with half effort. And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because I need to tell you something you might not want to hear. If you're working towards something, but you're still drowning in overthinking about whether you'll achieve it, there's a chance you're not giving everything you have. I'm not saying this to attack you. I'm saying it because it's a psychological truth most people avoid. When you give 60% effort, your mind knows. And because it knows you're holding back, it keeps asking the same question. What if this isn't enough? What if I fail because I didn't try hard enough? And that question tortures you, because deep down, you already know the answer. But something shifts when you give everything. Not just more hours, not just more stress. I mean when you remove the safety nets. When you stop leaving yourself an excuse. When you work so completely that at the end of the day, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did everything I could have done today. Even if the outcome is still uncertain, even if you don't know if it will work, your internal state changes because now the uncertainty is external. It's about the world, not about you. And that distinction matters more than you realize. When you know you gave everything, your identity becomes stable. You're no longer the person who's unsure if they're enough. You become the person who shows up fully. And that version of you doesn't overthink the same way. Now let's talk about the second part, focus, or more accurately, the lack of it. Your mind is like a flashlight. If you spread the beam wide, you can see a little bit of everything, but nothing clearly. If you narrow the beam, you see one thing with perfect clarity. Overthinking happens when your mental flashlight is scattered. You're trying to study, but your phone is next to you. You check it once, then twice, then 10 times. You're not really studying. You're half studying. And in that half state, your mind wanders. It drifts into doubt, into what-ifs, into imaginary conversations and future disasters that haven't happened. This is not a willpower problem. This is a neurological reality. Your brain runs on a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine doesn't just make you feel good, it drives your attention. When you get a notification, a message, a like, your brain gets a small dopamine hit. Not big, but frequent. And over time, your brain starts to prefer these small, easy hits over the larger delayed reward of deep work. So when you sit down to focus on something hard, something that requires sustained effort, your brain resists. It wants the easy dopamine, the quick stimulation. And in that resistance, overthinking fills the gap. You've probably experienced this. You sit down to work on something important. Within 5 minutes, your mind tells you to check your phone. You do. Then you open another tab. Then you remember something else, and suddenly an hour has passed and you've done nothing. But your mind has been busy the entire time. Busy with distractions, busy with half thoughts, busy with overthinking. Because overthinking thrives in shallow work. It cannot survive in deep focus. When you're truly focused, when you're locked into a task with your full attention, overthinking disappears. Not because the uncertainty is gone, but because your mind is too occupied to spiral. This is why athletes don't overthink during a game, why surgeons don't overthink during surgery, why musicians don't overthink during a performance. Their focus is total. There's no mental space left for doubt to grow. So let me bring this together for you. Overthinking survives in two environments: uncertainty without action and action without focus. If you're uncertain about your future, but you're not taking real steps forward, your mind will eat itself with hypotheticals. And if you're taking steps forward, but you're distracted, scattered, half-committed, your mind will still spiral, because neither situation gives your brain the clarity it craves. The solution is not to eliminate uncertainty. You can't, and you shouldn't want to. The solution is to act fully within the uncertainty, to give everything you have, even when you don't know if it will work, and to do that with complete focus, not perfect focus, complete focus. Meaning when you're working, you're only working. No phone, no distractions, no escape routes. You give your brain no choice but to engage fully with what's in front of you. And here's what happens when you do this consistently. Your mind starts to quiet, not because your life becomes easier, but because you stop feeding the overthinking. You stop giving it the fuel it needs to survive. Uncertainty is still there, but now you're moving through it with focus and full effort. And in that state, overthinking loses its power. I know you're tired. I know you feel behind. I know you look around and see people who seem more confident, more certain, more successful, and I know that comparison makes the overthinking worse. But let me tell you something those people won't. Most of them are overthinking too. Most of them are uncertain too. The difference is not that they have better brains or easier lives. The difference is they've learned to act anyway. They've learned to focus anyway. They've learned that confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after. You don't need a different brain. You don't need to be someone else. You need to stop feeding the spiral. You need to commit fully to what's in front of you. You need to build the skill of focus one session at a time. And you need to accept that uncertainty is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's a sign that you're on a path that matters. The weight of your own mind will always be there, but it doesn't have to crush you. You can learn to carry it. You can learn to move through it. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. The prison was never locked. You just kept checking the door instead of walking through it.